What's up, everybody? Yes, we have another Predator film out now. Now we officially have 9. That's if you're including the Alien versus Predator films, which I am going to include them in this ranking. And that's a hint for today's video. You already clicked on it. You read the title. Today you're going to get my opinion, Nornrad 89's ranking for the Predator franchise. So let's dive into this. We got 9 films to discuss. Roll it. So the Predator franchise has always been one that's kind of been close and warm to my heart. I love the Alien franchise as well, and I'm huge into sci-fi. I'm huge into horror. I was at a very young age into the Star Wars films, and I was into horror films. And Alien franchise and Predator franchise are movies that kind of find a way to get sci-fi concepts, very high intelligent concepts, and inject them into horror. And I like the fact that the Predator and Alien franchise eventually got tied together. Like, I was a fan of Alien versus Predator, so you're going to find that kind of high up on the list. So for me, these two franchises, they do a fantastic job. But today we're discussing just purely the Predator franchise. And with 9 movies, there has to be one at the bottom of the barrel. Coming in at number 9, I know this is going to be kind of a surprise. I know some of you might click off or be very upset, but hear me out. This is just my opinion and my ranking. This isn't going to change your ranking. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Predator 2. Yes, Predator 2, the sequel to the very first Predator film, is one that I've never been high on. I feel like in terms of a film to a film, this is like the biggest drop-off in terms of quality, because that Predator film, the first one, is so iconic. It did so many good things. And when I watch Predator 2, the graphics are worse, and I just don't find it like fathoming, like, or interesting to me, that it's like Lethal Weapon, in jungle LA. It's this dystopian LA, and we have the Predator injected into it. That just doesn't interest me. And like I said, for some reason, when I watch this film, the graphics, the deaths, all the special effects, it looks worse than the previous film. I know they were trying to do a little bit more because, like I said, they put the Predator in LA, in the concrete jungle, in our time, here on Earth. But I just didn't really like it like that, you know what I mean? In a modern setting with, like I said, Danny Glover, the LA cops and stuff like that, the Lethal Weapon style. I'm not a huge fan of Lethal Weapon, so that's another reason too. So Predator 2 has just never been one that I've been very high on. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Alien vs. Predator Requiem, and the reason this one beats out Predator 2 is just purely because I can view this film as just slasher cheese, and this has one of the most awesome, badass Predators I've ever seen in any of these films. The Predator in this movie is like the Punisher. He is freaking out there to kill and annihilate these xenomorphs and erase all evidence of them being on Earth. And I think, like I said, this Predator kicks butt. So there's just a couple reasons, those 2 reasons. But in terms of negatives for this film, it's a very dark film. I'm like, literally, it's very dark. There's not a lot of lights on set. And Alien vs. Predator Requiem is another film that's a prime example of when you get to the 3rd act, it loses itself because you don't know locale-wise where characters are. Like, when you're an intelligent type film and you're writing a film and doing stories, and when you get to the 3rd act, and especially there's an action sequence that has multiple moving parts, you want us as audience members not to be confused as to where people are or what's going on or what the goal is. And I feel like Alien vs. Predator Requiem, when you get to the end of the film, it's kind of like that. You get to the 3rd act and you don't really know who or what, where the goals are and where everybody's at in terms of locale wise. So that's why it sits here, like I said, at this number 8 spot. But it does beat out Predator 2, like I said, because I can clearly just shut off my brain sometimes and watch this as slasher cheese. Coming in at number 7 is going to be The Predator. Shane Black returned to deliver us a Predator film. Shane Black was actually in the first Predator film, and he came back to write this film. He's a very famous writer. He's done a lot of good content, but The Predator is not a good film. This is one of those films that it's just juggling too many concepts. It tries to make the story more convoluted and complex that it has to be. I don't really like too many of the characters in here, but it's just like the banter and all the like gimmicks between the characters, they're just trying too hard. It just feels like everything in this film is trying too hard, and the CGI I think looks very awful. So that's why it sits here like at this number 7 spot. The reason it beats out the ones below though is because like I can have fun with it because Shane Black coming back, like I said, he does write some good dialogue. Like even though I don't like the characters, there is some funny dialogue between these characters, and there's some really cool action sequence moments. There is a blink and miss moment when one of our antagonists dies. Like literally, if you're not looking at the screen or paying attention, this character gets killed and then he's gone for the rest of the movie. So yeah, the Predator, it's a huge bag of mix, but they dropped the ball heavily. And then the ending sequence, like, you know, ending scene, it didn't really pay off. It's one of those films that when you watch it, it's like, what's the payoff for this movie? So coming in at our number 6 spot, and from here on up, I want to be honest, 6 all the way to 1, these are all films that I give a positive review to, and I would rewatch, and I like rewatching. And coming in at number 6 is the other Predator film that we got earlier this year, and that's Predator Killer of Killers, which is an animated film, which I thought was really cool. The idea for this film of taking multiple short stories and putting them into one big film and having the Predator go to different timelines and fight some of the most iconic, you know, warriors or, you know, fighter pilots or ninjas, you know what I mean, in different time periods, I thought was really cool. The animation is awesome. The gore is off the charts. And like I said, this is just a really cool concept that a lot of us fans have wanted to see play out on screen in real life for a very long time. And I think Predator Killer of Killers was fantastic. And what Dan Trachtenberg and a lot of the people are doing, and like the goal and what they're setting for the plans of the future for the Predator franchise, I am very excited. So Predator Killer of Killers, glowing recommendations. This is one I highly recommend. Like I said, especially even if you're not a fan of anime, I think if you're a fan of the Predator franchise, you can still get into this film because, like I said, it just builds on the lore and it has so many cool moments. A lot of the moments, though, there are some where you have to kind of suspend disbelief. You know what I mean? It is animation, so yeah, there's moments where you watch it and you're like, yeah, I don't know how that would go down in live action, but still a very solid film. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Alien versus Predator. This is one that's always been near dear close to my heart. I have always been a lover of bringing these two franchises together. I think the fact that we have these two franchises and possibly even the Blade Runner franchise being introduced to this, you know, universe, it just is so much world building. It just makes everything so much bigger, and me as a fan, I love it. I love gushing about it. I love talking about it and the connections. That's what I mean. It's like these kind of films spark so many conversations outside of the movie. And I know Alien versus Predator, like the first movie, when they first dropped this, it was PG-13. There is a rated R cut of this film that literally just has a few blood gore moments dropped in there. There's literally just a couple added scenes of gore. That's about it. But this is a PG-13 film. But I mean, bringing the franchises together, I think they did, you know, a good job. It's like the same thing with Freddy versus Jason. I loved it. It's such an experience of me growing up and being a collector or a lover of cinema and a lover of movies and these franchises that when Alien versus Predator came out, I was so excited. And this is one of those films that when you watch it, it's just a popcorn flick. It's so much fun. It's a movie that when you get to the third act, you're cheering because you're watching a predator team up with a human to fight an alien xenomorph queen. I mean, come on. Who does not want to see that play out on screen? Coming in at our number 4 spot is the Robert Rodriguez produced Predators. This is one that I was highly anticipating and excited for because when this came out and I knew Robert Rodriguez was attached to it, even though he wasn't like writing it or directing it or anything like that, I knew just him having his hands on the attachment of the project, I was going to be excited because he really knows what to do with action and stories and concepts. And The Predators is just an easy sequel concept, you know what I mean? Taking a lot of these warriors from different time periods and different walks of life in terms of, you know, military men, assassins and yakuza and prisoners, and dropping them on an alien planet where they have to deal with multiple predator clans. This, like I said, there's lore building too in this movie as well, and the action is fantastic. So Predator Predators is always one that I'm highly excited to return to. Like I said, these top four, anytime these are on TV or somebody wants to watch them or anybody's discussing them, I'm like, it kind of gives me that urge to watch them. And I think Adrian Brody, being the lead in here, does a fantastic job. I love the fact that we get to the third act and like the way he plays out in the third act when he's doing his sequence and lights the fire and he's attacking the Predator, using the freaking axe, just like woof, 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 like so much cool stuff in this film. For real, I love this film. The fact that we got a lot of young actors in this film too before they kind of blew up and stuff like that, and Lawrence Fishburne. I don't mind Lawrence Fishburne's character. I think the fact that he's this crazy hermit type character that's stuck on this planet for God knows how many months, and he's survived. Of course he's going to go a little insane. So Predators is definitely one I highly recommend. It's like the first Predator film, but not so much horror. It's more action and comedy, but there is horror elements in here and gruesome bloody moments. It's just this one has more characters to play around with, and you love spending time with them because their dynamics are so interesting. Coming in at number 3, we have our most recent entry into this franchise, and that's Predator Badlands. I recently just saw this in theaters, and I thought this one was a slam dunk. First of all, what Dan is doing is a great job, is turning out a new concept of putting us in the shoes of a predator. I know this is a lot different for a lot of people because we're used to seeing the predators, the Yautjas, as antagonists, and to be on the side of actually following one that is a young runt who's trying to prove himself and earn his stripes into getting into his clan. I think this film lands on so many levels. This is like a video game come to life. Like a lot of the scenes are like a video game, but it looks so cool. And I love Ella Fanning in here. She gets to play 2 different characters, 2 different synth characters. And even the fact that this is PG-13, that doesn't bother me. I don't think this film needed to be rated R. Of course, me being a gorehound and me being a horror fan, I would not complain if this was a rated R film, but I don't think this film needed to be rated R, and I think Predator Badlands lands on a lot of levels, but I could understand a lot of people's gripes with it and their feelings of not liking this film. Like I said, if you don't want to see the Predator be humanized or like demystified, and seeing that side of the Predator and learning more of the Predator is a character. We're getting actual character development for a Yautja. If you're not into that, this is not going to be your film. I can tell you that right now. But for me, being such a lover of this franchise and wanting to see more and loving the world building and where we're taking this franchise, I thought Predator Badlands was freaking amazing. Coming in at number 2, the runner-up to the top dog is going to be Prey. Prey was one of those... I was so excited for. This was a concept that me as a fan, I had this early on, like in my years of like when Predators came out. Like after that film came out with the Robert Rodriguez one, I was like, damn, we need to take the Predator franchise and go to, like I said, old Western times or old Native American times, or just take them into different time periods and see what a Predator would do interacting with those people. And Prey gave us that. And I think Amber Midthunder playing Naru, one of the best protagonists that we've ever had in this entire franchise. Naru is a character that goes through trials and tribulations through her journey in this film and uses her wit and her strengths to outsmart the Predator in the third act. And I think it's amazing. And this is a film that is also gory, it's gruesome, it's bloody, and I think, like I said, Prey has such a vibe to it that I love it. I've watched all the versions of this film. I own the Steelbook. I am such a supporter of this film. And the reason this film's sitting at number 2 and it beat out Predator Badlands is because this one has the best character arc. I don't care what anybody says. Out of all the Predator films we have in this franchise, Naru's arc is the best character arc that we've ever had in any Predator film. And that's why Prey stands the test of time and why I've rewatched it like 4 or 5 times since the movie's come out and since I've bought it on Steelbook, because it is a fantastic film and I will always be a champion of Prey. But of course, there's a top dog at number 1, a film that just clear cut is the king of this franchise, and we're going to talk about it right now. So coming in at number 1 is the very first film, Predator. For me, this is one of those films that as a kid being introduced to this franchise and first watching this film, like I think the first time I watched this film, I was probably like 7 or 8. I saw probably the TV cut. It might have been the TV cut because I was watching it on USA or AMC or something like that. but watching it and chilling and sitting in the living room with my grandpa and just being immersed into this story and seeing this creature, the Predator, and seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger and this team of badass military men that you think are the toughest dudes you've ever seen. Like, this film is pumped with machismo, just attitude, freaking muscles to the brim. And just come to find out these men end up becoming some of the most scared, wimpiest dudes you've ever seen when they come into contact with the Predator in this jungle. Like, this film is just iconic for real. And with the score by Alan Silvestri and the John McTiernan and the director chair and like just the writing, like, I love this film. The cast is iconic too. It's just one of those casts that it's just this 80s cast that has so many faces. You're like, I know them, I know him, and just seeing them, and like Jesse Ventura, me being a wrestling fan, seeing Jesse Ventura in here just warms my heart. So yeah, Predator is one of those films. Every time I watch it, I understand why it's so iconic. Like, it never loses steam. It's one of those films that every time I put on, every time I'm done watching it, I'm like, yeah, this is one of those like easy 5-star films. Like, I don't think it could be replicated. And I don't want to be one of those fans that's like, this film could never be beat. But there are times when I think to myself, I'm like, they could make 10, 20 more Predator films and they're never going to meet this level. But, you know, there is a bright future for this franchise. So I'm very excited as a fan. And like I said in the beginning, these are just my thoughts and my ranking for these films. This isn't the right ranking. This isn't the concrete 100%. These are the best films. This is just my feelings on this franchise, because I know a lot of you are not going to have Predator 2 at the bottom. That means I would love to hear your opinion, your thoughts. Leave them down below in the comment section. What is your ranking for the Predator franchise? But also like, share, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. That definitely helps out the channel. But most importantly, you all know what's up. Have a safe and happy day. Peace out.